Justice with Judge Mablean will be life, because in everything we do, it involves the law. You came to court to testify about what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
She's fair.
I don't have a hearing problem. This ear works good. This one works even better.
She's firm.
I'm not responsible for their ticket, and I'm not going to pay for it.
Who says you're not going to pay for it? I make that decision, not you.
She's honest.
What you have to say?
All I have to
Nothing.
say.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean. Katrina Bryant is suing Bruce Harrison in the amount of $1,425. Ms. Bryant claims Mr. Harrison owes her for the cost of day camp fees and medical bills after her son ran away from the camp and broke his wrist. Mr. Harrison claims Ms. Bryant's son and his friend chose to sneak out and says the plaintiff's son was injured off of the camp's property, so he shouldn't have to pay.
In the matter of Katrina Bryant versus Bruce Harrison, Mr. Harrison, you're being sued for $1,425, the cost of camp fees for the summer. Ms. Bryant said that you allowed her son to leave the campgrounds and get injured, creating a bill for her and other expenses. What happened, Ms. Bryant?
Well,
Who's this young man? Is this Mr. Bryant?
Yes,
Kevin?
this is my son, Kevin. Yeah.
All right, who's going to tell me what happened?
I'm
You can
gonna-
start it, but I want Kevin to tell me what happened.
So, my son has been wanting to go to this camp for forever since he found out about a lake monster in the lake. And so...
Lake Monster?
A lake monster.
Okay.
And so we saved up for him to go to this camp, but the deal was my job and the time the camp started, they kind of collided. So Mr. Bruce provided for us an early start time, which is...
What's the early start time?
8:45.
All right.
So it like gave me just enough time to make it into work. And so we would drop Kevin and his friend off for camp a little bit early so I can make it to work. And so it was going good for about 2 weeks. We would drop them off. They would enjoy their camp, day, and his friend's mother would pick them up.
So this is an all-day camp?
It's an all-day.
For the summer?
Yes, for 4 weeks in the summertime.
Okay.
So 2 weeks later, we drop them off as usual. I get to work. And about an hour later, I get a call asking, is Kevin there? I'm like, what? I was like, what do you mean is Kevin there? He goes, oh, well, we can't find him. Did you drop him off? I was like, yes, we dropped him off as usual at 8:45.
Don't you have to sign him in when you drop him off?
We do have to sign him in.
So you signed him in?
There's a camp counselor there who receives the children. And so,
So someone received him for you?
Someone received him.
But at 9 o'clock or 9-ish, when camp started, you couldn't find him, huh, Mr. Harrison?
At 9:05, we do a roll call, Your Honor.
Okay, that's roll call, and you couldn't find him. So you got a call saying, where's Kevin?
Got a call saying, where's Kevin? So, of course, I'm at work. I'm thinking the worst. They're by a lake. There's woods. Anything could have happened. And I leave work at about 10 o'clock when I'm able to check out. And so I immediately go to my house because that's the first place you think to look like, where's my child if he's not where he's supposed to be? Lo and behold, he's at home. And so when I get there, I'm going into mother mode. Like, what are you doing while you're here?
You ready to string him up?
I was ready to.
Yeah.
Until I see him cradling his hand, and he has scratches all over his face. I'm like, what happened to you? Immediately changed. What happened to you? Oh, I fell. Where did you fall? I fell down the little ditch by the house. I'm like, what ditch? And so come to find out, they climb over the woods.
I'm going to let him tell me what he did. Because all yours is hearsay. I want to hear from Kevin. So at 9:05, you placed a call, Mr. Harrison, and tell her you can't find her son.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then what did you suggest she do?
Once we realized they weren't at all on the premises, I called, I'd say it was about 9:25, I called Ms. Bryant to let her know that Kevin wasn't there. Maybe she picked him up. Maybe she knew where he was, and she assured me no, she hadn't heard from him. So I assured her we'd keep looking, and I immediately called the police, Your Honor.
All right. So now, Kevin, this is where you come in. My mama asked you to sit down so Kevin can talk to me freely. You all right standing there by yourself, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Say yes or no. If you're not, I'll let mommy stand next to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I'm cool alone.
You cool?
Mm-hmm.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
You have to say yes or no.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
So, Kevin, you were at camp. Mommy dropped you off at camp one day, right?
Yes.
After she left, what did you do?
We realized that me and Charlie were out of bug spray. So we thought maybe we could go home and probably refill.
All right, so you realize you're out of bug spray. Then what'd you do?
So then we go through the woods and climb the 6-foot.
Through the woods? All by yourself?
Well, Charlie.
With Charlie?
Mm-hmm.
So then what'd you do?
We climbed the 6-foot fence.
Really?
Yes.
That didn't scare you?
No, I climbed through 5-foot fences all
Oh,
the
you
time.
climbed fences before?
Mm-hmm.
5 feet, but this time you just went a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then what happened?
So then we went through the highway road. So then while I was kicking rocks, I fall into a storm ditch.
Okay, so
And-
you now on the main highway, on a highway road,
Mm-hmm.
and you're walking and kicking rocks at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And then you fell into a storm ditch.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh my goodness. And you
I-
broke your hand?
Yes.
Oh, where did
But-
scratches come from?
The scratches come from the rocks that were scratched.
What happened to Charlie?
Charlie helped me up and then we made it back home.
Ran home?
Yes.
How did you get in the house? You had a key?
Yes.
So did you end up taking him to the hospital?
Yes, ma'am. Do I stand back up or do I
And
sit down?
yes, stand up. And what was the medical bill?
Okay. It was our insurance covered the bulk of it, but I ended up still having to pay out of pocket $325.
So how did we get to $1,425?
The rest of it is for the camp fees that I was trying to recoup since my son and Charlie weren't able to come back to camp.
So you want to reimburse you for the balance of the camp fees?
Yes, ma'am.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
Kids want to be there, and our campers are usually very well behaved.
So just give me one reason, give me your reasoning why you should not reimburse mommy for the balance of the camp fees since the kid can't come back.
And later,
So this is your regular photographer that you use for headshots, and you didn't know he used a camera phone?
Everything that he does is usually perfectly fine.
Justice with Judge Mablean. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Katrina Bryant, who is suing Bruce Harrison for $1,425.
All right, Mr. Harrison, let me hear from you.
I've been running Laddie Lake Camp for 8 years now, and nothing like this has ever happened. So kids want to be there, and our campers are usually very well behaved.
So just give me one reason, give me your reasoning why you should not reimburse mommy for the balance of the camp fees since the kid can't come back.
Well, I think that Kevin knows better. I think he should know not to run off. And certainly I've done everything I can with a 6-foot fence around the entire property to make sure. I think this is an extraordinary measure that he took to not only plan the right time when things are busiest to take off, but, to climb the fence. And we'll give the
Why you don't
campers
provide
bug spray. We will. We ask that the parents bring bug spray
And why is that?
suntan lotion because some kids have allergic reactions to certain brands.
Right. Now, why do you think he's responsible, Ms. Bryant?
Well, it's just the fact that we left our children in his care, and of course we're going to assume when we drop them off that they're going to be picked up at
You're
that
also
time.
going to assume that he's going to stay there when you drop him off, don't you?
I sure do.
You
assume-
expected Kevin to stay there too, didn't you?
I expected him to stay there,
Okay, so Kevin left on his own.
but he did leave on his own, but he's also an 8-year-old child.
Oh, Kevin. Do you know right from wrong?
A little.
You have to obey the rules when you go to school, when you go to camp. Wherever your mommy drops you off, you have to stay there. You can't leave. When you climbed that fence, you could have hurt yourself. When you went to that storm ditch, instead of just hurting your wrist, you could have hit your big head and gotten a concussion. You know that? Any number of things could have happened. And you gave your mother the scare of her life. You want to scare your mommy like that when she's at work?
No.
No, you don't want to do that. You misbehaved. You didn't do the right thing. And mommy now had to take money out of her pocket.
And
But I
missed a couple
can't
things.
charge him for that because you did wrong. You did wrong. So now maybe mommy can have you do some work around the house to help you pay that off. Don't do that. Don't disobey the rules, all right?
Yes.
Rules are put in place for children for your safety, for your protection, all right?
Yes.
Did you ever apologize to mommy?
Yes.
You did? What about to Mr. Harris?
No, not yet.
Did you, we want to apologize to him?
I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison.
All right. Now don't do that again, okay? This
Okay.
time you didn't get hurt too badly, and that's good, but don't do that ever again, all right?
All right.
All right. Judgment for the defendant.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I really wish you guys would have taken better care of Kevin. This all could have been avoided.
I'm sorry that Kevin hurt himself after he escaped from our camp, but I hope he's learned his lesson.
Coming up,
So this is your regular photographer that you use for headshots, and you didn't know he used a camera phone?
Everything that he does is usually perfectly fine.
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Ronnie Gaynor is suing Lexi Kerman in the amount of $1,000. Ms. Gaynor claims Ms. Kerman promised to represent her as a plus-size model, but she failed at doing so. Ms. Kerman claims the defendant expected to become an overnight sensation, and the business doesn't work like that.
Ronnie Gaynor versus Lexi Kerman. Ms. Gaynor, you're a plus-size model. You hired the defendant as your agent. You're now suing her, claiming that she did not do what she had represented. And you want a refund of the agency fee that you paid her.
Yes. Your
All right,
Honor.
explain it to me.
I was approached by Lexi, and she asked me, would you like to, I'm a modeling agency, I'm a model agent. Would you like to be a part of my agency? I love everything about you. I love your look. I love the way you walk. You have everything that my agency needs. So I go, okay, perfect. So she gave me her card, and we met later on during that week, and she told me everything that it included. She was going to sign me for a 6-month contract, and it would be $1,000. At first, I was very apprehensive.
You had to pay her $1,000?
I have to pay her $1,000 to be part of her agency. After I paid her the $1,000, she said, "Oh, we're going to meet up with our in-house photographer." So I said, "Okay, perfect." The next week, I went to the studio, and there was this. He seemed like he was like straight out of high school. He used his phone to take the pictures, and
For headshots?
He took the photos. I received it, and they were horrible. I mean, these are the pictures that he took. They were off-center, blurry. I complained to Lexi. This is my whole evidence. I complained to Lexi, and she said, "Okay, we'll reschedule it, and I'll be there to supervise."
Okay.
So I said, "Okay, that's fine." You know, so we did a reshoot again with his camera, cell phone, and we got the photos that we pre-approved them, and then she said, "Okay, perfect, I will make you your Z card." Well, in the evidence, she made my Z card, but my name was spelled wrong. The pictures aren't centered, they're blurry, and they're not even some of the same photos that we had approved together. So I complained to her again, and I told her, "These are not up to par. My name is spelled wrong. Everything is going wrong." And she says, "Oh, don't worry, we'll get it fixed." So they fixed it. She fixed it. And then she said, "Okay, within the week, I'm going to have it uploaded to our agency's website." Multiple times, I kept getting error message that it wasn't working.
This site can't
Yes.
be reached.
Coming up,
So this is your regular photographer that you use for headshots, and you didn't know he used a camera phone?
Everything that he does is usually perfectly fine.
you're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Ronnie Gaynor, who is suing Lexi Kerman for breach of contract.
Okay, I've heard enough from you. Let me hear what Ms. Kerman has to say.
We did do her photo shoot. I did confront Chad about the camera phone, and he reassured me that that was a high-quality resolution phone. And when we did a retake on the shoot, it was perfectly
Who
fine.
reassured you of that?
Chad, the photographer.
It's your photographer
Yes.
that you use regularly?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So he reassured you.
He reassured me. In fact, what you're looking at is not the final. Those are not the final photographs. Those are the photographs she was not
But
happy
if
with.
you use him all the time, why does he have to reassure you? You already know his work.
Because this was the first time anyone came back to me and told me he was using his cell phone to take the photos.
And there was no lighting. Or
So
anything.
this is your regular photographer that you use for headshots, and you didn't know he used a camera phone?
This was what it was just changing. He had gotten a new phone. He said it had the highest resolution. I just never really had any reason to confront him. Everything that he does is usually perfectly fine. We fixed the pictures. We fixed the Z card. And we even got her to go out on a paid shoot. She went to a fashion show. I went to the fashion show with her. I was backstage, and she had an attitude. She's back there, and she just thinks she's on some sort of like crazy reality show or something. The girls back there said,
Okay, so what does that have to do with the
Because
fact
I go
that she has these, this is what you call headshots, these blurred headshots with a camera
Those
phone.
are not the ones we ended up using. You're looking at the one that was a mistake. She fortunately
yeah,
did
a
not
real
bring.
big mistake. What about the Z card not having her name on it properly?
We have those.
Misspelled.
Wait, excuse me?
Her name misspelled.
Right, it didn't stay like that longer than 10 days. We had it
It didn't stay
corrected.
longer than what?
Not longer than 10 days.
Why would it stay 1 minute?
Because
Misspelled.
we had to wait for it to go into print. We had to wait to get it back. I mean, we couldn't do it overnight.
You should have waited. You should have checked it out before you sent it out to make sure her name was spelled properly.
Unfortunately, you're right, Your Honor. I should have.
I know I'm right.
It was my staff that was looking over the Z
Oh,
shot.
you gonna blame the staff now?
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. Promotional consideration provided by. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
Let me tell you something, Miss Kerman. You're a fraud.
No,
A
Your Honor,
fake
I am
and
not.
a phony.
I have a
That's
reputation.
my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. This is misrepresenting. You don't even have a website up.
We
and
do
you're
have-
going to upload her to the website. It's down 20 days out of the 30
That's
days
not true.
that
It
she's
was not
supposed to be
down.
uploaded.
It was down 10 days,
The
Your Honor.
things are blurred. The pictures you're talking about, I didn't know he was using a camera phone.
She
This is
still
your
got-
regular
she-
photographer.
Excuse
This
me,
is-
Your Honor,
you
but she still
misspelled the
got- she
woman's
still
name.
got-
And why she have to pay you $1,000?
Because we did her headshots, we did her photo shoot, we did her Z card, we paid for all that
No,
out of
you
pocket.
messed up everything.
We corrected it.
Why, somebody like you, 20 years, you can't spell and make sure a client's name is spelled right?
I had an intern, Your Honor.
Oh, yeah, blame the intern, blame everybody else. I tell you, it's your fault. Give one back $1,000. Give it back. If it was up to me, I'd pull your license and take you out of business.
Your Honor, she got shoots out of it, and when she went on the
please.
shoot, she had an attitude.
So do you.
I have-
a bad attitude in terms of doing business and keep blaming everybody in your office. Oh, it's my intern. Oh, I didn't know the photographer didn't use that kind of camera. Oh, I'm sorry. It took us 10 days to get the stuff back. We couldn't get the name right until we
She
got.
didn't
Oh,
look-
you're
she
just
didn't
so
look-
full of it. Get out of here.
She
Judgment for
didn't
the
look-
plaintiff.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $1,000.
I'm glad that the judge ruled in my favor. I hope nobody else gets taken by your scam.
I have been in business for 20 years. You have a bad attitude, and you, young lady, have a lot to learn.
This has been a production of